name's Lauren and I work for a company called CloudShed, which was founded by my sister Jordan. We do Google Workspace and Microsoft 365 training. So we basically help companies when they move to the cloud. We introduce new ways of working that come with working in the cloud, but also we just help companies make sure they're getting the most out of the tools that they're paying for. Now today's session is my top 10 tips for PAs getting started with Google Workspace. And as you can probably tell by my t-shirt and by the mug that I had my coffee in this morning, I am a massive Google Workspace fan. So it's been really hard to narrow it down to just 10 tips. I had to work with my sister to get the list down to 10 because there's so much that you can do with Google Workspace. We really will just be scratching the surface today with what you can do with your Google Workspace accounts. Now, before we kick off, I just want to explain a bit about what Google Workspace is. Google Workspace is a collection of cloud-based productivity tools. And it has all the tools you need to communicate and collaborate effectively. They of course have Gmail for emailing, but they also have an application called Google Chat, where you can use it for one-to-one messaging. There's a Spaces feature for team messaging, where you can also use it to share files, set up meetings with a group of people, assign tasks to each other. They have the calendar for scheduling, and there'll be a few tips on that in this session. And they have video conferencing with Google Meet. You can utilize Google Meet for video conferencing internally, but also with external organizations. Anyone can join a Google Meet call. They don't need a Google account. Now for collaboration, you have Google Drive to store and securely share files. Again, with internal colleagues, but also it works with external organizations. In Google Drive, you have Google Docs, Sheets and Slides, which is Google's version of the Microsoft Office tools. But the difference with it is that you can actually collaborate in real time with those applications, which massively increases productivity when sharing files with each other. Let's have a look at our first tip for getting started with Google Workspace. Accessing somebody else's mailbox. So like other email systems, in Gmail people can delegate their mailboxes, give other people access to them, so then other people can check their emails, reply on behalf of them. So let's say I'm a manager and I'm delegating my mailbox to my PA. I would go to the settings wheel in the top right of Gmail. And I would select See All Settings. In the main settings in Gmail, there is an Accounts section. And in there, there's the option to grant access to your account. So in here, I'm going to put my PA's email address and follow the steps to grant them access to my account. Now, to finalize the process, that person will get an email to confirm the access has been granted. So all they'll need to do is click a link in that email to finish up that process, and then it'll take up to 30 minutes for that to happen. Now let's have a look at how you would access somebody's mailbox. So now I'm the PA accessing my manager's mailbox. I log in as myself as usual. I go to the top right of Gmail, and here is where I can access other mailboxes that have been delegated to me. When I click and open one, it opens in a new tab in Chrome. So it's really easy for me to switch between the two because I just switch between those two tabs at the top of Chrome there. continuing with Gmail, we have tip number 2. Using labels to highlight emails. So for this example, I am in my manager's mailbox. You can find labels on the left-hand side. So some of you might actually call these folders, but in Gmail these are called labels, and you'll see why as I go through this tip. You can use labels to organize emails. So I could drag an email from my inbox across to a label. But if you look at my list, you can see we have color-coded the labels here. So let me show you how we use these. I drag the label with my name on it to emails that I'm dealing with. So I can actually drag the label across to the email and highlight the email in my inbox. That email is also now visible in the label, so I can find it in more than one place. I drag the to-do label onto emails that my manager needs to deal with. And we use the project labels to color code the emails by project. You can add multiple labels to one email. So for example, if I want my manager to know I'm dealing with an email, but I also want to label it by project, I can just drag multiple labels to that email. Tip number 3 is searching in Google Workspace. Most of the Google applications are built around a search. There's a search at the top of Gmail, there's a search in the calendar, there's a search in Google Drive. Now, because we were looking at Gmail a minute ago, let's have a look at the search in here. Now, the search searches everything by default. So basically, unless you've deleted an email, the search will be able to find it for you. You can search keywords and it'll search the subject, the body of every email. You could use the search menu to narrow down your searches by sender and subject. And when you're searching, search suggestions will also come up to help you narrow down your searches as well. And the search is built the same in the calendar and Drive. You can search keywords, there's a search menu. So it is one of the quickest ways to find something in your Google Workspace applications. Tip number 4, create rules for your emails using filters. So in Gmail, with the filters feature, you can actually get it to automatically label emails or star emails, depending what you want to do with them. The quickest way to set up a filter is to go to the search menu we looked at in the last tip. In the search menu, you fill out the details of the email you'd like to filter and select Create Filter. You then choose what you'd like to happen to the emails. So let's say in this scenario, I prefer for these emails to go directly to a label. I can select Skip the Inbox and apply the label. I can access, edit, delete filters in my settings later. Tip number 5, email templates. So these can be really useful if you send the same email out on a regular basis. Now, to enable this feature, you need to go to your settings and you'll find it under the advanced settings. Once you've enabled it, you can start setting up and using templates. It's really quick and easy to do. To write a new template, go to Compose a New Email. Once you've written your template, to save it, you go to the hot dog, the 3 dots in the bottom right of your new message. In this menu, you'll find templates, and there's the option to save the template in there and give it a name. To use your template later, when you're writing an email, you go back to the same menu and your template will be listed, so you can insert it into the email. Tip number 6 is calendar sharing. So the first part of this tip, I'm actually going to play the role of the manager, where I'm going to share my calendar with my PA and give them full access to it. The quickest way to do this is to go to my calendar in the list. So I'm going to hover my mouse over my name and the hot dog appears, the 3 dots. When I select this, I have settings and sharing. In this settings page, I can share with specific people. So I'm going to go to add people and add my PA in. And there's different levels of access you can choose from. The highest level of access is make changes and manage sharing. And that's what I'm going to give my PA, so they have full access to add to my calendar, edit events, and also to manage the sharing settings as well. Now I'm going to switch and play the role of the PA. I'm going to show you how you can view other calendars, add to them, and also customize the notifications. So first of all, any calendars you have full access to will appear in your list of My Calendars. And to view the calendar, you just make sure it's ticked off in that list, and it will show the calendar in the calendar view. Now to add events to that calendar, if it's the only calendar selected in the list, it will actually automatically be the calendar that I'm adding an event to. But once you're setting up the meeting, you can also choose the calendar you're adding the event to as well. If you want to make sure you're getting notifications from your manager's calendar, go to your manager's calendar in the list, select the 3 dots again next to it, go to settings and sharing. So now you're in the settings and sharing page, but for your manager's calendar. In here, if you scroll down, there will be a section where you can set up to get email notifications from their calendar. Tip number 7, a popular one with PAs, scheduling assistance in Google Calendar. Now there's a couple of features when you're scheduling a meeting that are going to save you a lot of time checking everybody's availability. First of all, I can select suggested times. This will show time slots that all the guests are available together. So if it's not suggesting the time that you're scheduling the meeting, it's telling you that not everybody is available at that time. When you pick a time from this list, it will adjust the time of the meeting for you. There's also Find a Time here. This is going to show all the guests' calendars side by side. So in here I can also find a gap that everyone's free. And even if I found a time that everyone's free, it's useful to use this to check what everybody's doing just before, just after the meeting. Is it doable for them to join this at this time? So hopefully these features save you a lot of time when scheduling in Google Calendar. When you're setting up your invites, you've got other options to look at, like adding a Google Meet link for video calls, adding a description, attaching links to Drive files, which we will actually talk about in a tip a bit later. Moving on to my favorite application in Google Workspace. Tip number 8, or 8, however you decide to do it, using Google Keep to stay on top of day-to-day tasks. Now, the beauty of Google Keep is you can access it anywhere. Just like all the Google Workspace apps, you can access it anywhere, any device. There's a mobile app, there's a web app. And what I really mean when I say you can access it anywhere is you can also access it in the Google Workspace sidebar, which you have on the side of Gmail, on the side of Calendar, and even on the side of Google Docs, Sheets and Slides. So you can be checking your notes and taking notes anywhere in Google Workspace. Now, if I open up the main Google Keep app in its own tab in Chrome, in here I can start a note. And when I'm taking the note, I can also add reminders to it. I can share it with other people. I can color code it. I can also label the note. But Google Keep is built around searching as well, so I can search to quickly find this note later. Now, if I go to create a list, I can name it, start adding items to it. So this can be really useful for a task list or a to-do list. And I could share this list with my manager. They will get an email with a link to the list and it will just appear in their Google Keep application as well. So hopefully some of you are getting ideas of how you might use that maybe as an individual or with your manager. It's also great on a personal account for shopping lists. Saving the best tips for last here, we've got tip number 9, collaborate on meeting notes with Google Docs. Now for this tip, I'm actually going to quickly introduce you to Google Drive, just in case some of you haven't used that before. And I'll go through creating a Google Doc, how you can collaborate on it with other people, and then I'll talk about that in context of attaching it to meeting invites as well. So I've opened up Google Drive and the main navigation is on the left. I've got My Drive, which is for my files. Anything I create here, I'm the owner of, and it's private to me by default. I've got Shared Drives, which is utilised for company-wide file sharing within departments. It's also great for file sharing on projects as well. Shared with Me contains individual files or folders that other people have given me access to. Now I've got the new button in the top left to create content. In Drive you can create folders, you can upload files and folders. You can of course also create Google Docs, Sheets and Slides. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a Google Doc in My Drive for a meeting later this week. I'm going to share it with a colleague so I can draft it with them to show you how quick and easy it is to collaborate on files and have more control over your files when you're sharing them in Drive. And now I'm going to share it with a colleague because I want to collaborate on this draft with them. I'm going to go to the share button in the top right. Here I can add my colleague and choose what access I want them to have. If I make them an editor, they can make changes with me. If I make them a commenter, they can only track changes and comment. And if I make them a viewer, it's view only. I can add a message to explain why I'm sharing it. And when I go to send this, that person will get an email with a link to the document. It will also appear in their Shared with Me in Google Drive. Just so you know, I could share this document with anyone though. They don't need to have a Google account. But anyway, I'll send it to Jordan and we'll wait for Jordan to open it. And we can see in the top right, a mini version of Jordan has popped up. So I can see she's opened the file. We can make edits together in real time. And Google Docs auto saves every change you make. That's why we can see these edits instantly. Now I won't be able to go into much more detail in this session, but it's worth exploring this because there's a lot more collaborative functionality. You can post comments or actions for each other. There's a version history, so if you do want to revert back to older edits that have been made, you can. And if you do create a Google Doc like this for a meeting, you can attach a link to it into your calendar invites. And in the past, a key thing that PAs have said that they find so useful with this functionality is that they don't have to keep attaching a new file or sending out a new document prior to the meeting. So let's say as a PA, I've set up a document, an agenda, I've emailed it out to everybody, they've all got their own copy of it. And then my manager comes to me and says, oh, actually, I want to add another item to the agenda. I want to adjust the document. I would then have to adjust the document and email another copy out to everyone. And then at the time of the meeting, everybody will think, well, which version is it? I think I've got the original version open. Did you email out a new version? I'm not sure I got that. And you have all that faffing around before and during the meeting. It causes a lot of confusion. But with this, you don't have that. A lot of PAs said it's so much easier because I put a Google Doc together. I attach a link to the meeting invite. It's not a copy of it, it's a link. So if anything needs updating before the meeting, you just open the same document, you update it, and it's a live document. So every time somebody opens that link, they're seeing the live document. They might even see your changes in real time if you make any changes during the meeting and they have the document open. So we're already at tip number 10, using Microsoft in a Google world. So we work with a lot of organizations who go fully Google. Sometimes it's 10 people, sometimes it's 100,000 people. So Google have put a lot of work into making this compatible with Office. And it is possible to interact with Office files even if you don't have Microsoft Office anymore. So first of all, let me just remind you that you can upload files into Google Drive. And let's see what happens when you edit a Microsoft file in Drive. I've opened this Word document and it's loaded in the Google equivalent, Google Docs. So if I open an Excel file, for example, it would load in Google Sheets. PowerPoint, it would load in Google Slides. Now it doesn't convert it. You can see at the top it says .docx. It hasn't converted the file. So I'm still editing a Word document even though it's in the Google equivalent. Now if this is one of my old Microsoft files that I've uploaded to Drive, I would probably convert it, just because when you're editing an Office file in Google, you don't get the full functionality of the application. So I want to go to File, Save as Google Docs. That will make a copy of the file converted to Google Docs, and then I'll be getting the full functionality of the Google Docs application. And I would recommend doing that with your Excel files, your PowerPoint files as well. However, this functionality of being able to edit Office files without converting them comes in really useful when you get sent Office files. So I'm going to go through the process of receiving an Office file from maybe another company, how I would interact with that and send it back. So I've got this email with a Word document attached. I've got the option to save to Drive, so I could save a copy of it to Drive now and edit it later. Or I've got the option to edit with Google Docs, which will save it to my Drive, but it'll open it in Google Docs straight away. So if I click onto that option, it's loading the file in Google Docs and saving it to my Drive. And again, we can see it hasn't converted it. So I can make some quick edits in here, I could leave some comments. And when I'm ready to send the document back, I can simply just go to File, Email, and here there's an option to reply with this file. By selecting reply with this file, it's going to take me back to the original email, start a reply, and attach my new changes. So without even looking at Microsoft Office, without even having it installed on my computer, I've received an Office file from another company, I've edited it in Google Docs, and I've emailed it back in the same format. So thank you everyone for watching. As I said, it was really hard to narrow it down to just 10 tips, but hopefully after this session you'll explore more of Google Workspace, like the collaboration in Sheets and in Slides, the spaces for team messaging and collaboration. There's also Google Forms for internal surveys or public surveys. So there's loads more to Google Workspace. We've really scratched the surface in the session today. If you want to follow us on our journey of helping companies go Google, we're on every social media site there is, I think, if you just search CloudShed. We've also got a website, cloudshedtraining.co.uk. Thanks everyone.